Today we're going to discuss how TV has changed us, has shaped us, and why we're still just trying to live in the early 2000s. Oh, absolutely. For the rest of my life, I think I'll be yearning for those days. And pop culture has been one of our favorite things, I think, generally. So, of course, we have to have a whole episode about our favorite TV shows of the era. Yeah, and so much has changed since the early 2000s, but maybe not in our lives. You know, we really just try to yearn for those days.
For better or worse. For better or worse.
So, do we want to kick things off with another Reddit post, Haley? Let's keep right on schedule, Becca. What do they have to say on Reddit these days? So, this post is talking about Netflix. Something you know very well.
Sweet
Better
Netflix.
than most. All right. I miss the golden age of Netflix. We're back to cable packages. That was the title, and this is where it goes in. Back when it was $10 a month. It didn't have the catalog it does today, but the experience was awesome.
Cool.
Now there are so many competitors. Every time I think of something I'd like to watch, I Google movie title stream to see if it's available on one of the numerous services I've subscribed to. As usual, it isn't. But it is available on Amazon Prime, not the regular package. You need to subscribe to the XYZ network to watch that particular title.
Wow.
Costs up some more money, you stupid poor.
Shit.
I remember when people predicted we'd be right back where we started eventually, and here we are. Thinking of canceling it all and investing in a VPN, a beefy hard drive, and plexing my worries away. Is that like illegally downloading today?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that, but I obviously am a supporter. I'm just going to warn you, you might get a cease and desist letter, and it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So learn from Becca's lesson. But luckily, you didn't have to pay that, right? That was like a warning. I was 16, so I wouldn't have been able to, but if I had been older and I'd continued, they probably would have sued me. So, yeah, be careful when doing that. But I completely understand where this person is coming from. I think maybe they might be just yearning for a simpler time as well, though. I get there's too many streaming services.
Agreed.
At this point. And the fact that we don't have regular TV anymore, you really do have to just stream everything you want. I mean, regular TV exists still, like cable. Who has it, though? Do any millennials you know have it?
No.
Like, truthfully?
No, I don't know any.
Any, like, my parents. But they're not millennials, clearly. And I think now, I know a lot of people use YouTube TV because it's probably the closest one to cable. Yeah. Even that seems like a ripoff. Oh, it's expensive. Do you have that? We've looked into it, and it's like hundreds of dollars a month. What I need to say about this is say it louder for the people on the back, because I think streaming, it had to come to a head maybe at some point.
Yeah.
There was always, the day was going to come. It needs to stop. The time is now. It's definitely more expensive than cable. I'm sure, especially because, man, I'm just thinking in my household, we have Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Apple TV Plus, Disney Plus. I'm not a rich person. You're paying more than your rent on these. I'm spending more than my income on entertainment. It's insane. Do our Gen Z folks listening to this show, the many, many Gen Z that listen, are they aware of what Netflix used to be, Haley? So, for those who don't understand, and actually this isn't even just that in the past. So, back in the day, in our day, Netflix was a disc service where, like, you would have a queue on Netflix, and they'd send you, I think you could have different plans. They'd send you 1 to 2 discs. I think it was when you return one, you get a new one. Yep. So you could really cycle through them quick if you were really interested in movies or really just burning them in your home, which I think a lot of Americans were doing. Or if you were like my family, you would just forget to return them and then have extra random Netflix movies lying around. Because you only get charged like $25 if you don't return it. It's like the cost of the DVD. Exactly. So we were flipping discs. We were using our DVD players, and that was just the life we lived. And you know what's crazy, Becca, is I actually read just this year, like maybe January, is when Netflix stopped their DVD service. Like, that was still occurring now. I couldn't believe my eyes, but people were still doing that. I don't believe that a single person has been doing that for years. It can't be many because they obviously discontinued it for a reason, but if you were still getting Netflix discs A, we salute you. B, can you write in so that we can be friends?
Describe the movies you've been watching. Tell us about your experience.
Yes.
We want to know.
But streaming has become a ripoff for sure.
But like, Haley, how have you considered your teenage self hearing that you have now been on a Netflix show as an adult? Like, what would that mean for your high school self?
I think I would be like, why did it take until you hit 30?
You'd also be like, why are you on Netflix if Netflix is a DVD sharing service? You'd be like, what is Netflix now? It must be different.
Yeah, did they not have reality shows?
Not when we were kids, no.
So it's really, you're right. I guess at that point I wouldn't have fully understood. I think I would have thought I was a movie star if you told me that.
You are.
I am.
In my eyes.
I'd be like, oh my God, I become an actor. I'm a famous actress.
You are.
Damn it, I'm not.
But like when I think back on our experience of watching TV in freshman year of high school, it was at your mom's because she had the full cable. She had the most channels of all of our parents. So we would really dive deep on those nights at your mom's house.
Yeah, Dorian came through with the on demand, and
Absolutely.
we were out here watching. We're gonna get into that, Becca. We're gonna get into that, and you can see by our shirts who we're going to discuss. But I think it's important to mention, for those who maybe weren't alive during that time, TV, not just how we digest it, like streaming, DVDs, obviously that's come a long way. But I would say content in shows have come a long way as well, in different ways.
It's a lot racier now.
Yeah, I think it's racier in different ways. Like, I think now, there's shows like Euphoria. That's always the first one that comes to mind because it's racy.
It is.
It's like if Degrassi was on steroids.
Yeah, even like HBO back in the day, like Sex and the City versus Euphoria, like that's another level.
Yeah. On the flip side of that, though, what is also true is if you watch old episodes of like sitcoms, like Friends comes to mind, they're going to say things that I think they couldn't have gotten away with today.
Go rewatch seasons 1 through 3 of The Office. Love that show.
But I was never into it.
See, I wasn't into Twilight. We all have our things. But The Office is beloved by everyone. But if you went back and watched the first few seasons, you are going to be appalled with the jokes they made. They just weren't funny. It was kind of gross.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of misogynistic vibes, a lot of homophobic vibes in those days. So I'm glad it's come a long way in that way. And I think that brings us to our next note. Our first note of the episode.
I believe that this note references a very special man in our life.
Oh, I'm very excited. Oh, I dropped all my notes.
We can share, don't worry.
This is dated. Oh, thank you, Matt. This is dated December 22nd, 2007. I rarely date these two, so that's special. Dear Becca Howard, I used your government name. Please don't mind the handwriting, but it's like 6 a.m, so give your girl a break. I was definitely up tending to my Farmville crops at 6 a.m.
And writing me letters.
Yeah, because why else was I up that early? And writing you, that's sweet. So for about the 636th time, I was reading the birthday card on my wall that you wrote last year. It must have been love at first sight. Poor Fabian, who has never gotten our letter and doesn't understand our love for him. So, for those who don't understand who Fabian is, did we discuss Fabian in season 1?
Season 1, we did give a shout out to Fabian, and then our friend Jules did bring his sweet photo to our Y2K soiree.
So, that's another season 1 reference for you.
We'll share a photo of him just so you all know who we're talking about.
I know.
I think we have, and we'll do it again.
We'll do it again. God help us. Oh, boy. Some of these are inside jokes that just feel unwell. Oh my God, remember that time in hostess class when the scary man freaked out at me because of Libby's letter? Speaking of which, I haven't gotten one from that lass in a while. Libby is Becca's little sister,
who was approximately 7 when we were writing.
Is that true? How many years apart are you guys?
6?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so she was like 7 or 8. That's really
She's
cute.
so grown now, and I'm upset about that. Speaking of which, I haven't gotten one. Oh, I already said that. Sorry. Chuck Norris is all Chuck Norris is all 99 of Jay-Z's problems. I was so naive at that time. I then discuss how we haven't had a Target popcorn slushie and talk in too long. Becca, can you talk to what that means?
We used to do these Target days, and we would just spend our afternoon sharing a popcorn and a diet soda, and we call it like cheetah chatter, I think. It was just our little moment in the Target.
Why didn't we call our podcast Cheetah Chatter?
We can change it. It's not too late.
We have to change this shit. When we're on season, that was cute that we did that.
I know. And we would write, like, I guess we would just hang out like for hours at the Target.
Shout out to the Target Pizza Hut. They really put up with us for long periods of time.
I bet it's not there anymore. I bet it's a Starbucks.
Starbucks did take over the Target world. That's too bad.
We should go back and like pretend it's ours.
One of these days. But I think the main focus out of that, as wholesome as that is our obsession with Chuck Norris at this time. And if you weren't around during this time or in high school in this era, you missed the Chuck Norris era.
We were not the only ones who were obsessed with Chuck Norris.
No, it was a global phenomenon. Speaking of, shout out to Chuck Norris. Today is actually his birthday, I saw.
Oh my gosh, our Pisces king.
We love it.
That makes so much sense because he's such like an icon.
Absolutely.
And Pisces are just supernatural. So he is he's an icon.
For those who are not familiar with Chuck Norris, first of all, do some quick Googling. Like,
Walker, Texas Ranger.
He was on this show called Walker, Texas Ranger, and he just got this reputation for being a badass. Like, there were a lot of Chuck Norris jokes. He would roundhouse kick you to the face. There was books. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I got you a book about Chuck Norris.
You did.
I remember that.
I kept it in my glove compartment.
We have so many Chuck Norris jokes, and they probably start right around this time. Yes. So you're going to be seeing that theme throughout seasons 2 and 3.
Absolutely. What was interesting about it is we never actually like really watched his show.
No, we might have at your mom's. I feel like I tried to like put it on.
We tried.
Chuck, we freaking tried. Happy birthday, Chuck. We love you.
We love you. Bless you.
And if you want to know when we filmed this podcast, you can go Google Chuck Norris's birthday. So.
Easy. There you go. We couldn't watch Walker, Texas Ranger, and that's simply because we were too busy watching Noggin.
The end.
We were on the end. The end, I think, is what they called it at night when, like, the older kids were watching.
The teens.
The tweens and in-betweens.
It was like the Canadian Nickelodeon, I'm pretty sure.
You know, they just do some things better in Canada.
Noggin.
And Noggin's one of them. TV's one of them.
So what were our favorite The End shows, Haley? Let's give our listeners a recap.
Well, I think our very first number one would be Degrassi.
Look at that
right?
shirt.
Like, how do we pretend like we watched? You know, we really enjoyed Radio Free Roscoe as well. What were some of yours? You had some classics.
I wrote down The Saddle Club. Hello world, this is me. Life should be fun for everyone. You don't remember that?
You're trying to get me involved. I don't know the song at all. I'm so sorry.
I've showed it to you.
Yes, but that doesn't... Thank you for having so much faith in me, but you have showed it to me like recently, but I didn't have it.
And then how about Screech Owls?
That is one.
Do you remember that?
That I don't remember at all.
It was about a hockey team in Canada, like a kids hockey youth club.
Boy, did they love hockey in Canada.
They did.
They're so wholesome.
But going back to Radio Free Roscoe, that was about like the high school radio.
Yes.
Did that inspire you to do what you do now?
Let's just say that it did. It did. And what was fun about this channel was obviously it was Canadian, but I feel like actors were on multiple shows on the channel. Like, for example, in Radio Free Roscoe.
I was just going to say that.
There's a lot of crossover.
The roommate in
Degrassi.
Yeah, Marco's roommate. Yes. Marco and Paige.
Good.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
She knows exactly who I'm talking about. And if you can relate, you get it.
You get it. So write in if you watched Degrassi or any shows on the end. We might be forgetting some. This wasn't on the end, but do you remember Bug Juice?
Was that a Nickelodeon one?
Yeah, and it was the one about the summer camp.
Yes, of course.
Freaking loved that show.
Didn't it have a fun theme song? I feel like you would remember it.
It was like Bug Camp. I don't know.
Yeah. That was it as far as I'm
Bug Camp
concerned.
isn't what it was called. Bug Juice.
Bug Juice. Bug Camp. We loved Nickelodeon and Disney as well.
Yes.
I think during this time, we're slowly moving up to like MTV VH1
We
reality
have
shows.
Simple Life as one
I
of
love that.
ours.
What network was Simple Life?
E, I think. Was it always called E though? Was it called Entertainment for a long time?
Hard to say where those gals were, but I love it. You know, obviously we had Degrassi on the end, but this was when I don't think we had Jersey Shore quite yet.
Like later 08 is when that came.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. We're
Yep.
very close, but we're starting to enjoy True Life. You remember True Life?
And how about like E, True Hollywood Story?
You were an E girl.
I loved E. I
She
loved
was
E.
an E girl, you guys.
I grew up without cable, just so that our viewers know how sheltered I was. And I was introduced to cable very like abruptly at 8 years old when both my parents got divorced and then they both got cable, probably to like keep us occupied. So E True Hollywood Story was my shit
Yes.
every Saturday
Mhm.
morning,
Oh, I love that.
as well as the VH1 Top 20 Countdown.
Yes, I loved Behind the Music was
Yes.
another one that was good. You think you know, but you have no idea.
That's what they would always say. What about Britney's like short-lived reality show?
Chaotic.
Chaotic. That's when she got her secret wedding.
That's a
Surprise
fever
wedding.
dream. Chaotic Britney Spears show with Kevin Federline. That's a freaking fever dream right there.
I watched it
Oh.
as a child.
Oh, it's chaotic. I watch that. Of course. I'll watch anything Britney Spears does.
Same to this day, forever. We love her.
Brittany, Amanda Bynes, I'll ride for till the day I die. Amanda
She's
Bynes, what I like about you?
she's back.
She's
We're
thriving.
She has podcasts,
She does have a podcast.
and we're happy for her.
So, Amanda, can we have her on?
If she was willing to come on our show,
We'll travel.
you wanted to be Amanda Bynes, like you wanted the Haley show.
I don't know if we've come across any of the notes yet, but I often would put HaleyPlease.com.
And Haley
Haley
show.
It's because you know what? It's always been the Haley show in my brain. Classic Sagittarius. You know what I'm saying?
The Amanda, that's real for your sign.
Yeah.
But the Amanda show was epic. That was such a good show.
Amanda, we love you.
We love you.
There were so many classics, and not to get dark, but it is quite sad to see, you know, on the flip side of that, all the sad things that have happened to the child stars
I
of our
know.
era. There's actually a new documentary. It'll be out by the time we get this podcast out, but I think it's called Quiet on Set is a new documentary, and I saw they've already released a clip of Drake Bell talking about his experience with being molested by staff
Brian
on
Peck.
Brian Peck, you dirty pedophile.
I know.
So that's really dark and highly, like I said, it's out by the time you're watching this. So watch that. And all we should do is educate ourselves.
And I'm thinking our listener, Kristen, did tag us in the Degrassi documentary that's coming out.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that's real.
I thought you were going to say you're not excited.
No, I would be excited. I don't know how real that is.
I need like the dirty tea. I need like the deepest, darkest stories from that
Of
set.
course, I'm thirsty for them, but that just felt like a fake. You know how those fake Facebook posts go up?
I just want to know if Rick was really as creepy as like he was on the show. Like is the actor as creepy?
We have to assume he's not because Drake let him in the music video.
Unless it was just as a pariah because they're all chasing him.
Honestly, Drake might be a little bit creepy himself. I
Ooh.
can't like.
I
I'm
can't.
wearing the shirt, but this is. Let it be known, I'm wearing a Jimmy Brooks shirt.
It's not a Drake shirt. Well, did you know he's the #1 artist on Spotify?
I did.
And did you know that he has a weird relationship with Millie Bobby Brown?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, so
And yes,
two things can be true, and we don't like that.
we don't like that. So I'm sorry if that comes out after this podcast that Drake. I hope he's not a diddler. I hope he's not.
He has the power.
Oh, Becca, it's dark. It's dark. I'm interested in watching the documentary, and one day we'll get the answers. One day we'll get Dan Schneider in prison.
It's okay because this is from before his time as a creep. Like this was when he was like such an innocent little nugget.
He was a child.
Yeah, he was 11 in this photo.
He was 11. So you guys, don't come at me for this.
If you haven't watched old Degrassi, I mean, if you haven't watched any Degrassi, go watch the whole thing. But you're going to see the youngest, most youthful Drake you'll ever see in your life. And his name was Aubrey Graham at the time. He didn't even know his name yet. So
Aubrey
Aubrey
Drake
Graham,
exactly.
to be exact.
Just to be clear. You know, we really did love TV. We especially loved reality TV in these days. So it's just heartwarming and very full circle for me to have had the opportunity that I did have. I know we touched upon it briefly, but it's so, I just, being able to see the behind the scenes, what a time for Haley.
Yeah, and if we, like, haven't told our listeners, go back and watch our bonus episodes.
Oh my gosh, we've been having a lot of fun with our bonus episodes. So there are it's a two-parter if you want to hear about Surviving Paradise. We got to chat with Gabe, Eva, Copen, and Shay and get their side of the stories there.
Shout out to the Surviving Paradise crew.
That was really amazing. And, you know, a lot of great things have come from the show, and I'm really enjoying the ride. Of course, occasionally people will recognize me in public from it, which is really sweet.
Really?
Although I did have a questionable experience recently. And it's just questionable. I don't want to put this person in, like, a HIPAA violation department.
So it's medical?
But it's cool. Like,
Tell me.
So I went to the doctor this week for a little checkup.
Yeah.
Well, how are the pipes working? And the nurse, you know, the kind soul who's weighing me, checking my blood pressure.
Getting you naked.
Getting me why was I completely nude? No, that's not part of it. No, anywho, like, as this is happening, she's like, so, like, I watched your show. I really liked it. And, like, calls me out on it. And it took me aback because, like, not that I'm ever ready for anyone to recognize me. Like, that's always cool, like, when it happens. But this was really, like, a weird one.
Yeah, that's a HIPAA violation, potentially.
Luckily, it wasn't said in front of, like, other people. So,
okay.
But this woman, like, has seen every crevice of me. So it's just something about the fact that she's seen all my crevices and she's seen the show. And, like, I just picture her on the couch with her full family being like, I know what the inside of her vagina looks like. There she is on our TVs.
Oh my gosh, what's her name? No, just kidding. We don't need to shout her
Because
out.
I'm not going to violate HIPAA.
No, and I'm proud
Personally.
of you. It's hard when you live in a small area.
Right.
And you're going to be potentially running into people that know you.
Right.
I've had that experience, but I'm not even famous. I just have a lot of therapists. And, like, they're not supposed to say hi to you if they see you in public, right?
Okay. You have a lot of therapists?
I've had.
Okay. Not all at once.
I've had a couple at once.
That's
but,
not my
you know,
business,
they go over time. And
Okay.
I keep running into people that I've used to work with, and they're not supposed to say hi to you. They're not supposed to say hi. Did you know
That makes sense. That also seems like in the HIPAA area.
So I just will strike up conversations with my former therapist just to make them uncomfortable because they can't say hi to me as like, hey, I know you. So I'll just be like, hey, what's up?
So this has happened to you more than once.
Yes.
What was the weirdest time that you've run into a therapist in public?
Probably when I was at the beach with my dog and my friend, and I had this woman who I knew was my old psychiatrist just approach me because she saw my dog, and she's like, oh, you have a corgi. She starts asking me all about my corgi, and me and my friend are like talking to her, and we walk away, and I'm like, that's my old psychiatrist. And I knew exactly who she was.
She knew too, obviously.
She probably, as she was talking to me, I could tell that she was like connecting. And I was like, oh, she probably thinks I'm like a happy lesbian with a dog now.
Well, it's cute.
I know. I'm like, that's a like adorable story.
That is.
So.
And I'm sure, I mean, you spend a lot of time with these people. I spend a lot of time with my therapist. Like, they know who you are. They know
who you are.
They know.
There's one time where a virtual therapist I had, I found out he was actually my mom's employee. After like months of working with him, I found he looked at me and like was like, you know, you look like Cindy Howard.
No way.
I swear to
God.
God.
He just looked at you and, well, you do look a lot like your mom, to be fair, but like,
he like put something together. I must have said Nashua. I must have said something.
Oh,
is that bad?
I mean, what are you gonna do?
He doesn't work for her anymore, though.
That's for the best.
And I also stopped going to him.
That was gonna be my follow-up. Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
And I didn't spill any tea about my mom, luckily.
Thank God.
Right?
Thank
Sorry
God.
for even like getting her involved in that, but
sorry, Cindy. So sorry. Sorry about a lot that you're going to hear in the next episode as well, because Becca, this is monumental for us. Next episode, we are going to talk about when we got our driver's licenses. is.
We called him Olivia Rodrigo before she was even born.
Period. The world has not been safe since the day we each got validated to be on the roads, but we're out here doing our best. So until next time, but in the meantime, big shout out to Black Owl Studios in Portland, Maine. They're helping us produce the podcast, making us look fancy. We look cool. Yeah, I didn't set this up in my home, believe it or not.
This is all Black Owl.
Thank you to Black Owl. We'll meet you for episode 9.